Thank you, Madam Speaker. My question is to the Premier. Premier, New South Wales and Queensland are burning, lives have been lost and hundreds of homes destroyed. Today looks set to be the most catastrophically dangerous fire day in Australia's history, and I'm sure I speak for every member here when I say our hearts are with our fellow Australians facing such a terrifying scenario. Premier, during last season's Tasmanian bushfires, we received significant assistance from interstate fire agencies. Indeed, the spirit of interstate cooperation has played a significant role in bushfire management across Australia, as shown again by the 80 brave Tasmanian firefighters currently helping interstate. But with the ever-extending fire season and increasing severity of bushfires, Tasmania will not always be able to rely on this help. Premier, do you agree Tasmania must become as self-sufficient as possible with our firefighting capability? If so, why has your government been so sluggish in adopting key recommendations from the Press Review in 2016 and the AFAC review this year on how to be better prepared for bushfires in future?
Thank you. The Honourable the Premier.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I thank the member for the question and also the opportunity to acknowledge that there are brave, professional Tasmanian firefighters as we speak on the ground interstate. I was in contact with the Premier of New South Wales and the Prime Minister on the weekend about Tasmania's contribution to the effort, and you're right, we did welcome many from interstate and overseas during last year's fire season, and it's a great area in which all jurisdictions collaborate to ensure resources are deployed as swiftly as possible, and with the expertise that we have in this state, being one of the most bushfire-prone places on the planet, we do have considerable capability, and Tasmania is certainly playing its part. And it was heartening to hear the very brave and courageous efforts of a number of firefighters, but all those who are leaving our state now have our best wishes and the thanks of the Commonwealth Government and also the New South Wales and Queensland governments. But I do want to say also in opening that I think it's really important that we reflect on what is the most critical priority for our firefighters, both there and indeed here, and that is to protect life and property. That is the most important thing that our firefighting agencies have to bear. And I was pleased that this year, during what was one of the largest fire seasons in our state's history since '67, there was some property loss. Of course, significant damage to our wilderness areas, but also, thankfully, no lives lost. And our hearts go out to those loved ones and friends of the people whose lives were lost in New South Wales recently. But we have not, as the member says, not responded with adequate priority to a number of recommendations which have come through, including a number of which we inherited as an incoming government and that had not been adopted by the former Labor-Green government, Madam Speaker. So the record is that not only are we doing a lot more in terms of making our state more fire safe, and we have reduced the fuel load in our state considerably, adopting recommendations from reports left not responded to appropriately by Labor and the Greens, but also responding to reports including the AFAC review, which the members referred to, and as is the case and as has been noted previously, the short-term recommendations completed 4 and 6, the remaining short-term recommendations being 1, 5 and 8 will be completed, I'm advised, by the end of this month, and the medium and long-term recommendations being 2, 3, 7 and 9 being just that. The TFS has a dedicated project manager working on delivery, and despite the claims or the suggestions that are being made, we have actions to prepare for the upcoming season, including completing multi-agency briefings, undertaking fire brigade district briefings statewide, ensuring helicopter readiness, establishing national aerial firefighting contracts are in place, implementing a combined air desk established and exercises prepared, fuel reduction burns, which we've referred to, in all regions, part of this government's nation-leading fuel reduction program, $55 million invested into this important area that has reduced the fuel load to historic lows, establishing permit restrictions, activating campfire management strategies, confirming that all high-risk areas have community protection plans, confirming the reinstatement of remote area firefighting capability by the State Fire Commission, engaging with Australian peers regarding practices that can support our efforts, and continuing to work to establish the volunteer remote area firefighters. So these are the things that are underway, that are in response to the AFAC report. It's the time frame that you're demanding completion of the AFAC review recommendations. You were not able in government to deliver yourselves. The Hyde review attributed many of the issues from the 2013 bushfire response directly to Labor Green negligence, not committing to the required resources to fix those issues. And Mr Hyde's report also identified expanded fuel reduction burns as a high priority, and found that the delay in implementing an effective fuel reduction burning program in Tasmania was disappointing, but we know, of course, it also added to the risk across our state. And it took this government to deliver a strategic fuel reduction program to reduce the risk in our communities, Madam Speaker, and that's a $55 million commitment, a significant investment that we have made to reduce that fuel load. So, Madam Speaker, we do reject any suggestion that we've not acted with priority or indeed with the appropriate level of resources, and indeed also in response to the expert reviews and recommendations that have come forward. It is important to remember that these are the views, the recommendations of experts, and there's a lot of armchair experts across the country, including from the Greens Party, making all sorts of reckless claims about fuel, about fire readiness. Well, in Tasmania, I'm assured from discussions with the Chief Officer and through Cabinet briefings that yes, we do face a difficult season ahead. There is no doubt about it, but we have acted with great priority and additional resources to ensure that our communities are as safe as they can be. We urge Tasmanians to be very careful in their communities and have fire plans in place for when the fire season hits. But, Madam Speaker, it will not. None of this will be helped by the Greens continuing to scaremonger.
Thank you.